Do you guys like my sweatshirt? It's Kansas City Chiefs, and on the back it says Karma 87. Now, I unfortunately gave into TikTok shop and I bought this sweatshirt, but I could not buy it. You know what I'm saying? Those who get it, get it. Happy Super Bowl Sunday, guys. I am so excited that the Super Bowl is finally here. If I'm honest, I'm almost as excited as I was last year when it was the Kelce Bowl. There's just something in the air about 2024 Super Bowl. I don't know if it's the fact that Usher's performing. I don't know if it's the fact that Taylor Swift is going as a girlfriend to one of the players, or if it's the fact that all the other girlfriends and NFL wives have just been slaying it this year. So for today's episode, we are doing a huge recap of the 2024 Super Bowl. So I'm taking you guys with me as I get ready and as I talk my thoughts before, during, and after the Super Bowl. Let's dive on in. Okay, friends, it is 1:30 p.m. on Sunday, Super Bowl Sunday, and I am, like I said, so ready for the Super Bowl. I think I'm excited for just all the people that are there. I feel like if I was in Las Vegas, I would be losing my mind because I feel like the energy of the Super Bowl is just a whole nother level, and I'm excited to see it play out through my screen, but I feel like I'm going to feel it even through the screen as I'm watching TikToks and videos and reading news articles. There's just so much excitement around this Super Bowl. Now, before I dive into all the other stuff, I want to address who I think is going to win or who I want to win the Super Bowl. Now, obviously, like I said, I have my Chiefs sweatshirt on. Well, really a Taylor Swift Chiefs sweatshirt. Anyway, I actually am rooting for the underdogs who I feel like are the 49ers in this game. Not meaning that I think they're a worse off team, but I feel like they have just a underdog story. I was reading stories about Brock Purdy, who is the quarterback of the 49ers. Number one, he's actually one of the lowest paid quarterbacks who still has roommates, and he made it to the Super Bowl. Number two, I read stories where people would refer to him as Mr. Irrelevant. Number one, how rude. Number two, I love the idea that people try to identify him as not being good enough, as irrelevant, as a throwaway, whatever the case may be. And that throwaway, that Mr. Irrelevant, is now relevant more than ever because he led his team to the Super Bowl. Yes, I know it's a team effort. I also feel like the quarterback is the backbone of the team. I could be wrong. I don't know, but that's my feeling on it. So I am hoping that the 49ers win. Now, for all the fun stuff, I'm excited to see, yes, the Usher performance during a halftime. I'm a millennial, and Usher is somebody that I literally grew up on, which I feel like he has not aged. He has not grown up in the sense of he looks the same when I was in middle school as he does today. So I definitely need that skincare routine. But I'm so excited. I'm hoping he brings out Justin Bieber. I'm hoping he sings Let It Burn, Confessions, and I'm hoping that they do the Yeah song because that song ruled every single middle school, high school dance, homecoming, and prom. And if it comes on, I'm losing my mind. So I am so excited for the Usher performance. And then I'm also really excited to see all of those like private rooms or the sitting areas where the families go, where I know they're paying a pretty penny for the privacy, or the suites. I think they call them suites. I'm excited to see the suites because I have been reading and watching videos of how many celebrities are currently in Las Vegas. Again, there's just something about the Super Bowl that I feel excitement, I feel energy, and I feel like there's a lot of celebrity attention on the Super Bowl. So again, I am so excited to see everybody. The third thing that I'm so excited to see are all the wives and girlfriends of the NFL players. Now, I was having a conversation with my husband earlier today, and this is just a thought, a theory that I have. I feel like Taylor Swift has had an effect on the NFL. Now, I'm not saying the NFL has not had a fan base. Obviously, they have. What I am saying is facts and numbers and figures cannot deny that Taylor Swift has had some sort of impact on the NFL. And I've seen stories and I've seen people talk about that. What I have not seen or heard yet that I think deserves more attention is the fact that Taylor Swift has also seemingly had an effect on how people pay attention to the females who are supporting their men on the field, or the partners or people that the NFL players are in relationship with. There has been such a unique spotlight on them, and I am all for it. But I'm so excited to see all the other girlfriends and wives and fiancés and how much they are going to slay and how much they are going to be so iconic with the outfits they wear, with just their cheering and just their excitement for their men on the field. So again, for today's video, I'm going to take you guys with me as I watch the Super Bowl. Honest reactions, honest thoughts are coming your way. And then I'm going to recap once the Super Bowl is over. So I hope you guys enjoy today's video. Happy Monday after the Super Bowl, friends. I cannot believe last night's game. I was literally on the edge of my seat watching the game in such anticipation and hoping that the 49ers would win. Yes, I know I had a Chiefs sweatshirt on, but I really love underdog stories and I love Brock Purdy, and I had genuinely hoped that they would come out with the win. But as we all know, they did not, but I am so proud of them, and I'm excited to talk to you guys all about my thoughts when it came to the Super Bowl last night. Now, I wanted to record this last night, but I was too emotionally exhausted and physically exhausted, so I was like, you know what, let me get some rest, process what I just saw, and then I can do part 2, I guess, of this video. I want to first talk about some of the fun stuff that I feel like was exciting for me. Maybe not for everybody, but for me, I loved seeing some of the celebrities there, like the Biebers. Part of me was hoping that Justin would perform with Usher on stage, even though a bigger part of me knew that was not the plan and that was not going to happen. But I loved seeing him there with his wife. I truly believe that this can be Justin Bieber's year, but I feel like he's in a place where he is mentally and emotionally maybe ready to create again and to maybe even go on tour. Fingers crossed. But yeah, it was good seeing them. I'm a sucker for Gordon Ramsay. I don't know what it is about Gordon Ramsay, but seeing him at the Super Bowl last night just made my heart so happy. I have a weird crush on him. I love him. I love all his shows and everything. And so I loved that he was there. I love that Beyonce and Jay-Z and their family was there. Blue Ivy is so cute and looking like such a middle schooler and is just precious. I love watching her. Now, obviously, they are very involved in the sports world, but I am obsessed with all things Jason and Kylie Kelce. I loved his outfit. I loved his overalls and just his full support with the Chiefs, even though he is obviously an Eagles player. The funny thing about Kylie, and I don't know if this is just happenstance or if she is doing it on principle, but I don't think I've ever seen her in a Chiefs gear at all. Last night, she wasn't wearing a Chiefs gear. She was actually wearing a Cincinnati shirt. And I just find that really cool and interesting. I'm like, oh, she really is a diehard Eagles fan. Now, is she wearing the same colors? Yes. But is she going to wear the actual gear? It doesn't seem like it. But I loved seeing them in the suite with Taylor and all her crew as well. And then obviously, yes, I loved seeing Taylor Swift. I loved seeing Blake Lively. To me, one of the most beautiful women in the world. And so, yeah, those were some of my favorite celebrity sightings from last night's game. Okay, now I want to talk quickly about the wives and girlfriends and fiancés of the football players, because those queens slayed so hard. Starting with the 49ers side, I loved Olivia Coupeau's outfit. I loved her jacket, and I loved the fact that she just was iconic in black and she looked stunning. The other thing with her is I think she does simple really well. Obviously, it's like elegant and high end, but it's simple, and she just looked beautiful last night. And then obviously you got the queen herself, Kristen Juszczyk. I loved her jacket. Her jacket was obviously made by her, but it was in honor of all of her husband's NFL and football days, which I thought was really sweet and really special. I loved seeing that she incorporated this is his journey to get here. Fun fact about her as well, quite a few celebrities were actually seen wearing her stuff, which I love. There was Gwen Stefani, the Queen Kelly Clarkson herself was wearing it. So to see people like that, and I also think that Lil Wayne had, I think, a puffer from Kristen as well. So this girl is just launching, and I am so excited to see where her career goes in regards to the clothes that she's making. I also love seeing Debo Samuel's girlfriend, Mahogany Jones. I thought she looked beautiful. I loved seeing, obviously, Taylor Swift. Her outfit, she looked beautiful as well. And her little, just her little hints of Travis on her was just so cute, whether it's the ring, whether it's a necklace. She does it so well, and it's not like this big flash, and it's not always this big flashy 87, but sometimes it's just little hints of it, and I think it's just well done. And then yes, I loved seeing Shariah Gordon. I think she is so beautiful. She is Hardman's girlfriend. I think that's how you say his last name. I think it's McCole Hardman. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that is his girlfriend, and I think she just is stunning. And again, loved seeing her at the game last night. So those are a few of my takes on the WAGs, the wives and girlfriends and fiancés of the players. All these ladies are not just huge supports, obviously, to their husband, but they are holding their family together. They are the foundation that their husband gets to go home to, or their boyfriend or fiance gets to lean on. They are the constant in the very inconsistent world of sports. So I am all about this WAGs era 100%. Okay, now I want to talk about my favorite Super Bowl commercial. To me, the Super Bowl commercials this year were a little lackluster. I don't know if that was just me. But I did love, and I am loving, the Dunkin' commercials with Ben Affleck. I don't know what it is with Ben Affleck. I feel like he's really misunderstood. I don't think he's miserable. I think he is just really somber and sober. And I think it gets misunderstood as he's miserable. He hates J-Lo. And I'm like, he married her. He's very much of the personality where it's I'm not going to put on just to put on. I'm going to show up and be supportive, but I'm not going to be somebody that I'm not. Oftentimes when it comes to celebrities, I think we mistake the fact that who they are in the public is who they are in private. And I think when it comes to that level of celebrityness, it is hard to be fully who you are in public, because every moment, every word, every action, every behavior is heavily judged and heavily criticized. So I think some celebrities have learned to turn off when they're out, and then they turn on when they're home. And I feel like Ben Affleck is one of those people. Okay, now let's talk about the halftime show, which was led by Usher, and I grew up listening to Usher, so I have some thoughts. Number one, I don't think he did as bad as some people are saying that he did. I don't think technically it was great, in the sense of he was really hard to hear sometimes, and either people or musicians would drown him out. I think something that kind of threw me was he was going for theatrical and that carnival vibe, which is great, but so much was happening that it felt a little rushed, and it felt like you could tell it was a time crunch. I feel like Usher or whoever was behind the team, they tried to put a lot into a small circle, and it just it was coming out of the seams a little bit. I did enjoy him singing Yeah, and Lil Jon showing up, and Ludacris, Alicia Keys. And the other thing is too, these are obviously professional when it comes to singing and performing. Just because they are professional, it doesn't mean that they're not going to have moments where they mess up. Obviously, Alicia Keys sounded a little rough at some points, but I think overall she still did a great job. Now, I don't know the relationship dynamic between Usher and Alicia Keys, or Usher and Alicia Keys' husband. If I were Alicia Keys' husband, I would be like, yeah, you're not performing with him again, or we're going to have some boundaries, because that can't happen. I felt like, oh, that's a little touchy for me. But again, I don't know their dynamic. I don't know their relationship. I loved her. I think she does no wrong in my eyes personally. I know people are saying she looked like Northwest, which, I mean, that's kind of a compliment, but I love her. I think she looked great, sounded great. Overall, wasn't my favorite halftime show? Definitely not. Was I expecting a little bit more? Yes. But I'm not a professional. I've never done a halftime show. So props to everybody and anybody who did the halftime show with Usher. That takes a lot, and I can't imagine what that takes. So like I mentioned before, watching the Super Bowl, I was literally on the edge of my seat. Now, I will admit, when it comes to big games like this, or really most games, but definitely big games, I will not watch up until the last 2 or 3 minutes, and then I literally stress myself out when watching. And with last night's game, because it was literally so close and then it was tied, I literally was stressing. You guys can see my face, you can see my reaction. That's real time face and reaction. I was just on the edge of my seat. I genuinely wanted Brock Purdy to feel the excitement of winning the Super Bowl, especially because people have counted him out for so long. I do believe, though, that him getting here will change the narrative about who he is. And I genuinely believe that he has a great future ahead of him. When watching some of like the after show or whatever it's called, like the interviews, one thing about Brock Purdy that I thought was interesting is he took it on himself. I think he took responsibility in the sense of like a leader. Like I think he understood that he was the leader of a team, and so he's not going to blame one person on the team. He's going to take that blame himself. I'm also hoping, though, he doesn't take it in the sense of now I have to beat myself up because I let the team down, because I truly believe he did play well. From the little that I know about football, I believe he played really well. It looked really good. And so I hope that he also is really proud of how he played. Sometimes how we perform in a game or sometimes how we perform in life, we're not going to always get the result that we want, but it doesn't discredit the performance that we did. It doesn't discredit the talent and the gifts that we brought to the table. I realized watching last night's game, I'm such an empath in the sense of I literally almost started crying when they lost. I don't know anything about them really, but I'm like, I just hope somebody like holds them and hugs them and tells them that they're good enough and tells them that and tells them that they made it so far and they're so good and that this game doesn't define who they are. I mean, literally that was running through my head. And I'm like, I am too emotional for this kind of stuff, because up until literally last night's game, I was not emotionally invested really into the teams. Well, no, I lie. I started becoming emotionally invested when the wives of the players like started becoming big, and then you saw the husbands support their wives. I was like, I love that. So but from a standpoint of who's my team or who do I want to win, I really didn't care. But then last night it got me. I'm like, I just love the underdog story. So yeah, me and Super Bowls, I think I'm going to get emotional every single time. And that's something that I'm just going to have to embrace. Now, before I close out today's video, I do want to share my thoughts on something that did happen last night in regards to Travis Kelce and Andy Reid. This is something that I wanted to respond to last night, but I felt like, okay, I'm just responding just to respond. I want to make sure I think through and process through my thoughts on the situation. If you don't know what I'm talking about, there was a moment in the game where Travis Kelce comes up to his coach, Andy Reid, somebody he has worked with for a long time. His brother has worked with as well. Very honorable man. But he comes up to his coach and he is furious. I don't know what has taken place. People who watch football probably do, but he's just really irritated and furious. And he comes up and like kind of chests Andy and knocks Andy over almost, where he loses his footing a little bit. And people were quick to come at it, where it's like, that's so disrespectful. How dare you? You call yourself an outstanding person and then you do this. And I will say this, that reaction and how he behaved out of his anger was not okay. And I won't excuse that. And I hope he doesn't feel like he can excuse that. There is no reason to be that kind of disrespectful to anybody, let alone somebody that is your leader, somebody that is your coach, somebody that has walked literally through fire with you. And so I do want to start off by saying that when it comes to his reaction, or when it came to his reaction last night, I don't think he reacted in a healthy or a good way at all. With that being said, I also want to hopefully shed some light. Most football players are emotional beings. And I mean, obviously, most humans are emotional beings. But when it comes to football, emotion is literally what's driving them to be the best football player that they can be, whether it's aggression, whether it's anger, whether it's, just pure passion. There's an aggression behind a lot of football players, and most can hone it on the football field. And then once they're off, they can disconnect. I think with Travis Kelce in general, which is something that we've praised a lot, is he's an emotional being and he's not typically scared to show the emotion. The thing with Travis that we've seen, though, is we've seen the good and happy-go-lucky and the feel-good emotion come from him. But with all of that comes this sometimes. For me, that whole situation, again, was a reaction out of irritation and anger and probably pent up, heightened emotions that seemed to burst at that moment. I also think too, sometimes when we hold people really high in our minds, any moment that happens, any human moment that happens, it seems so much bigger than the reality of the moment. Again, with that being said, what he did was not okay. With that being said, I'm hoping and believing that that's not how he is, with Taylor or with the people that he loves. I truly believe that football is a passionate sport. Football is a sport that is driven by so much emotion. And when you are at the height of it, when you are at the Super Bowl for yet another year, and there's probably other things just going on throughout the week, you're not going to handle things perfectly. You're not going to handle every moment perfectly. And so my hope, again, is that it was a moment and it was something that he is regretting and he's going to process with his coach, with, the people that he needs to process it with. And I'm hoping that, again, he learns how to react differently when he's feeling those emotions. The emotions aren't bad. It's the reactions that are typically bad or unhealthy. Those are just my brief thoughts on that moment from a therapist point of view, as somebody who works a lot with people on how to regulate, how to understand, how to embrace, how to acknowledge emotion. That's my take on the Travis situation from last night. All right, you guys, I am so thankful that you decided to tune in and just hear my thoughts on the Super Bowl. Overall, I am just happy. There was a moment that I saw on the field where there was one of the players and his mom, and that just got my heart, because not only are the wives and girlfriends and fiancés important, but there's a lot of mamas out there who have just been the rock for their guys to get to the place that they're in. And so just to see even that makes my heart so happy. Again, does my heart hurt for the 49ers? 100%. But I'm hoping and believing that they don't let this game identify them. I think it's going to take a minute. I hope they allow themselves to grieve and be sad and be hurt and be angry. Those emotions are okay. And then I'm hoping that they realize, okay, but this isn't the end all be all. At the end of the day, this is just still a game. As always, if you like all things mental health, therapy, pop culture, trending, faith, then this might be the channel for you, and I would love for you to go ahead and join this family. You can go ahead and hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and turn on your notifications. That way you guys are notified when brand new videos are out and ready for you to enjoy. Be sure to tune in next week for a brand new video. Until next time, guys.